Your sister needs $10,000 for her birthday, so stop being selfish and send it, my mom snapped. I actually laughed. Not happening. She told me not to show my face at the party. I showed up anyway, and the moment my sister saw what I'd brought, she stopped smiling. I'm going to tell you about the worst birthday party I've ever attended. And I've been to one where a kid threw up on a bounce house, and it rolled downhill into a koi pond. This was worse. My name's Owen. I'm 34. I own a small commercial electrical contracting company in Central Ohio. Nothing fancy. We wire up restaurants, office build-outs, the occasional warehouse. I've got 11 employees, a business partner named Pete who taught me everything I know, and a 2-bedroom house I bought with cash after my divorce because I never wanted to owe anyone anything ever again. That last part is important. You'll see why. My family is small. There's my mom, Diane, my stepfather, Gary, and my younger sister, Brooke, who just turned 30. Brooke is married to a guy named Liam. They live in a 4-bedroom colonial in a subdivision where every house has one of those fake lantern lights by the front door. You know the type. Growing up, the split was pretty clear. I was the one who got told to figure it out. Brooke was the one who got things figured out for her. When I graduated high school, my mom sat me down and explained that college wasn't in the budget for both of us. And since Brooke was younger and had better grades, it made more sense to save for her. I remember sitting at the kitchen table while she said this. She had her hands folded like she was delivering bad news at a parent-teacher conference. I didn't argue. I went into the trades. Got my apprenticeship through a local IBW chapter, worked under Pete Hadley for 6 years, got my master's license, and eventually started my own shop. I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you because every dollar I have, I earned with wire strippers and a headlamp in a ceiling cavity. Nobody gave me a thing. Brooke, meanwhile, got a communications degree, bounced between 3 different marketing jobs, and eventually settled into calling herself a brand consultant. As far as I can tell, this mostly involves updating her LinkedIn and posting about hustle culture on Instagram. She works part-time for a small agency. Liam's pharma sales income covers the mortgage, the cars, and the lifestyle. But Brooke talks about her career like she's running a Fortune 500. I love my sister. Or I did. I think what I feel now is something closer to exhaustion. Here's what kicked this whole thing off. It was a Wednesday in March. I was at the office going through quarterly expenses with Pete. Pete's 55, built like a fire hydrant, and has the personality of a man who's seen too many junction boxes wired by amateurs. He doesn't do small talk. So when he slid a printout across the desk and said, "What the hell is this?" I paid attention. It was an invoice, billed to our company, from something called Callahan Creative Consulting, LLC, for $3,200. Services rendered, brand strategy consultation, and digital marketing audit. I stared at it. Callahan is Brooke's married name. We didn't hire a marketing consultant, Pete said. No, I said. We did not. I pulled up our accounting software. Our bookkeeping is handled externally. We send everything to a firm that processes payables, receivables, payroll. That firm is run by my stepfather, Gary. I searched for Callahan Creative Consulting. 6 invoices over the last 14 months, ranging from $2,400 to $4,100. All approved and paid. Total, just under $19,000. Pete watched me scroll through them. He didn't say anything for a while. You want me to call Gary? He finally asked. Not yet, I said. I printed everything. Every invoice, every payment confirmation, every approval record. I put them in a folder and I drove home. That night I sat at my kitchen table with a beer and that folder and I just looked at it. $19,000. Paid to my sister's LLC. For work she absolutely never did. Approved through my stepfather's accounting firm. Not a single one of those invoices had ever crossed my desk. I want to be clear about something. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't yell. I don't throw things. My ex-wife used to say my biggest flaw was that I go quiet when I'm angry, and she was right. I go very, very quiet. I went quiet for about 3 days. Then my mom called. I was on a job site when my phone rang. I stepped into the hallway of an unfinished dental office and answered. Owen, I need to talk to you about Brooke's birthday. Okay, we're doing something special for her 30. She deserves it. She's been working so hard, and Liam just got that promotion, and I think we should all come together and make it really nice. What are you thinking? Well, your father and I, she calls Gary my father, which I've never once asked her to do, we're hosting it at the house. Catering, decorations, the whole thing. and I think it would be really meaningful if you contributed. How much? 10,000. I actually laughed. Not a polite laugh. A real one. The kind that comes out before you can stop it. Owen. Mom. I'm not sending $10,000 for a birthday party. Silence. The Diane Merritt specialty. She doesn't argue. She doesn't raise her voice. She just goes quiet in a way that's designed to make you feel like you've committed a moral failing. Your sister has always been there for you, she said. When... Another silence. I just think it's really sad, she said, that you've done so well for yourself and you can't find it in your heart to do something nice for your family. I'm not sending $10,000. Then maybe you shouldn't come. She hung up. I stood in that half-built hallway with my phone in my hand, and I felt something click. Not anger, exactly. More like the moment when you're troubleshooting a circuit and you finally find the short. Everything suddenly makes sense. $19,000 in fake invoices. A demand for $10,000 more. And a family that treats me like an ATM with legs. I put my phone away and went back to work. But that night, I pulled out the folder again. And this time, I started digging deeper. Because here's the thing about invoices. They leave trails. And I wanted to know exactly how far this one went. What I found made the $19,000 look like a warm-up. So after my mom hung up on me, I did what any reasonable person with a folder full of fraudulent invoices would do. I poured another beer and started going line by line through 2 years of bookkeeping records. Quick context for those who don't run a business. When you outsource your accounting, you're trusting someone to handle your money honestly. Gary's firm does our payroll, our tax filings, and pays our vendors. I sign off on big expenses, but the day-to-day stuff, smaller invoices, recurring charges, those get processed without my direct approval. That's normal. That's how it's supposed to work. What's not normal is your stepfather quietly routing payments to your sister's fake consulting company. I went back through every month. The invoices from Callahan Creative Consulting started small. The first one was $1,800. The descriptions were vague enough to fly under the radar. Social media audit, brand positioning assessment, digital engagement strategy review. The kind of stuff that sounds like something but means nothing. They got bigger over time. By the last quarter, they were hitting $4,000 each. And here's the detail that really got me. Every single invoice was submitted through Gary's firm's internal portal, not through our regular vendor intake. Meaning they never showed up in my approval queue. They went straight to payment. Gary built a side door. I called Pete the next morning. It's worse than I thought, I said. How much worse? I found 23 invoices going back almost 2 years. Just over $38,000. Pete was quiet for about 10 seconds. For Pete, that's practically a speech. What do you want to do, he asked. I don't know yet, but I'm not doing anything until I understand the full picture. Fair enough. But Owen, this is theft. I know. I spent the next few days acting completely normal. Went to work, ran my jobs, answered my mom's texts. She'd switched from the silent treatment to sending passive-aggressive family photos with captions like, missing one, and family is everything. I responded with a thumbs-up emoji each time because I am a mature adult. Then, for days after the phone call, something happened that I genuinely did not expect. Liam called me, my sister's husband. The guy I see at Thanksgiving and maybe one cookout a year. We're not close. We've never been close. He's one of those guys who's always on, always selling, always smiling, always working the room. I've never had a real conversation with him. So when his name showed up on my phone at 9:30 on a Tuesday night, I almost didn't answer. Oh, and hey, you got a minute? Sure. Listen, this is awkward, and I know we don't really. I mean, we've never really. Look, can I just be straight with you? Please. He took a breath. I found something. On Brooke's laptop. She left it open when she went to her spin class, and I wasn't snooping. But, okay, I was kind of snooping. She's been weird about money lately. Like, really weird. She got a new bag last month. A nice one. And when I asked about it, she said her mom bought it for her, but something about the way she said it didn't sit right. Liam, what did you find? She has a bank account I didn't know about. A savings account at a credit union across town. It's linked to her LLC, Callahan Creative Consulting. My hand tightened on the phone. How much is in it? I asked. I couldn't see the balance. Just the account name and some transfer notifications in her email. But Owen, I looked up the LLC. It's registered. It has an EIN. She set this up like a real business. But she doesn't have any clients. I've never heard her mention a single client. She has one, I said. What? My company. The silence on his end lasted long enough that I thought the call dropped. What are you talking about? He said. I told him. Not everything. I didn't mention exact numbers or how far back it went. But I told him enough. His wife had been invoicing my business through his stepfather-in-law's accounting firm for work she never performed. Liam didn't say anything for a while. When he finally spoke, his voice was different. Flatter. Like the salesman had left the building. She's hiding money from me, he said. That's what this is. She's building a separate account and Owen, we just refinanced the house. She told me we were tight. She told me we needed to cut back on dining out. I'm sorry, Liam. Don't be sorry. Just, what are you going to do? I haven't decided yet. Because if you're thinking about confronting her, I want to know first. I need to protect myself here. Financially. And there it was. Liam wasn't calling me out of family loyalty or moral conviction. He was calling me because he was scared. He could see the same thing I could. Money disappearing into an account he couldn't access, attached to a business that didn't actually exist, run by a wife who was apparently planning for a future that didn't include him. I understood. I didn't hold it against him. But I also didn't trust him. I'm not going to do anything impulsive, I said. But I need you to do something for me. What? Don't tell Brooke we talked. Don't change your behavior. Don't go through her laptop again. Just act normal. For how long? Until I say otherwise. He agreed. We hung up. I sat in my living room in the dark, and I thought about my sister. About the girl who used to make me play restaurant with her when she was 6, taking my order on a little notepad, bringing me invisible food on a frisbee. About the teenager who cried on my shoulder when her boyfriend dumped her before prom. About the woman who apparently looked at my business, the thing I built with my hands, from nothing, after being told I wasn't worth investing in, and saw a piggy bank she could crack open whenever she wanted. And my mom who demanded I send $10,000 for a birthday party, who told me not to show my face if I wouldn't pay up, who has apparently known about or enabled this the entire time. The party was 5 weeks away. I had 5 weeks. The next morning I called a lawyer I'd used for a contract dispute 2 years back. His name is Dan Whitfield. Good guy. Straightforward. Charges by the hour and earns every penny. Dan, I need to talk to you about something. It's going to sound like a family problem, but it's actually a business problem. Those are usually the same thing, he said. He wasn't wrong. What I didn't know yet, what I wouldn't find out until the following week, was exactly how deep Gary's involvement went. And that piece of information changed everything I was planning to do. Dan Whitfield's office is in a strip mall between a nail salon and a UPS store. I mention this because people have this image of lawyers sitting behind mahogany desks with leather-bound books. Dan sits behind an IKEA desk with a Bengals mug and a stack of manila folders that looks like it might achieve sentience. I brought my folder. The printouts, the invoice records, the payment logs. Dan spread them across his desk and read in silence for about 15 minutes while I sat there drinking the worst coffee I've ever tasted. How much total? He asked without looking up. Just under $38,000 across 23 invoices. And you never authorized any of these? No. They were processed internally through my stepfather's firm. They bypassed my approval entirely. Dan leaned back. Owen, I have to ask you a direct question, and I need a direct answer. Go ahead. Do you want to pursue this criminally? Or do you want to handle it privately? I've been thinking about that for days. Calling the police on my own sister. Filing a fraud complaint against my stepfather. Watching my mom's face when she finds out her son put her husband and daughter in legal jeopardy. I want to handle it privately, I said. But I want leverage. Real leverage. The kind where if they ever try anything like this again, I can bury them. Dan nodded like this was exactly what he expected. Then we need to document everything and get Gary on record. Because right now, his firm is the weak link. He has a fiduciary duty to your company. He breached it. That's not just a family disagreement. That's professional misconduct. If I report this to the State Board of Accountancy, he could lose his CPA license. I don't want to destroy him, I said. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying you should make sure he knows you can. Over the next 2 weeks, Dan and I built a file. We pulled every invoice, cross-referenced them against Brooks LLC registration, which, by the way, was registered the same month Gary started processing the payments. Not a coincidence. We documented the payment routing, the lack of approval records, and the fact that no deliverable from Callahan Creative Consulting was ever received, reviewed, or referenced by anyone at my company. Dan also had me do something I didn't love. He had me send Gary a routine email asking for a year-end accounting summary, specifically requesting a line-item breakdown of all consultant payments. Totally normal business request. Gary responded within a day. The summary he sent back listed Callahan Creative Consulting under marketing and outreach vendors, alongside 3 legitimate firms we actually use. He put it in writing. He categorized my sister's fake company as a real vendor. Dan printed that email and added it to the file with a little flag tab. That's his signature on his own professional misconduct, Dan said. He just authenticated everything. While this was happening, I kept my head down. I went to Sunday dinner at my mom's house. I smiled. I ate her pot roast. I listened to Brooke talk about her client pipeline, and I nodded along. I watched Gary avoid eye contact with me the way he always does, the man perpetually retreating behind his newspaper or his phone. Brooke was in full party planning mode. She showed me fabric swatches for the table linens. She'd hired a florist, a photographer, a DJ. She was treating this 30th birthday like a destination wedding. "It's going to be amazing," she said, scrolling through Pinterest boards on her phone. "I just want everything to be perfect." "It sounds great," I said. My mom watched me from across the table with that look, the one that said she was still waiting for me to come around and write the check. I smiled at her too. I had a conversation with Pete that week that I keep coming back to. We were in the truck heading to a job site, and he said something that stuck. "You know what bugs me most about this?" he said. "What?" "She didn't even try to make it look real. No reports, no presentations, no deliverables. She just sent invoices and collected checks. She didn't respect you enough to put in the effort of actually pretending." He was right. That was the part that stung more than the money. The laziness of it. The assumption that I'd never look. 2 weeks before the party, my mom called again. "Owen, I've been thinking, and I want to apologize." I sat up straighter. My mom doesn't apologize. She once backed into a mailbox and blamed the mailbox for being in a blind spot. I shouldn't have said you couldn't come to the party. Of course you're welcome. You're her brother. "Thank you, Mom. But I do think you should reconsider contributing. Even $5,000 would make a real difference." Brooke's been under so much pressure lately. And there it was. The apology was a renegotiation. She dropped the asking price by half, like a used car dealer sensing a walkout. "I'll think about it," I said. That's all I asked. I did think about it, just not the way she wanted me to. The week before the party, Liam texted me. Just 2 words, "She's spending." I called him. He told me Brooke had put $6,000 on a credit card for party expenses in the last 10 days alone. New dress, new shoes, new jewelry. She told him it was an investment in personal branding. Did she say where the money's coming from? I asked. She said she had some consulting income saved up. Of course she did. I called Dan. "I want to go to the party." "I figured you would. I want to bring the file. Bring whatever you want. But Owen, don't make a scene. Don't grandstand. If this goes sideways, I want you to be the calm one in the room. Every time." "Dan, I've been the calm one in this room my entire life." He laughed. "Fair point." I spent the rest of that week finishing the paperwork. Dan drafted a formal demand letter to Gary, citing specific Ohio Revised Code sections on fiduciary duty violations and referencing the Board of Accountancy's complaint process. He drafted a separate letter to Brooke, documenting the fraudulent invoices and demanding full restitution. Neither letter threatened criminal charges. Neither letter threatened a lawsuit. They simply laid out the facts, cited the law, and asked for repayment. Dan said the tone should be a professor grading a bad paper. Disappointed, not angry. The night before the party, I put both letters in a plain manila envelope. I set it on my kitchen counter next to my truck keys. I thought about not going. For about 10 seconds. Then I ironed a shirt and went to bed. What I didn't know was that Brooke had one more surprise in store. Something she was planning to announce at the party that would have worked perfectly in her favor if I hadn't been standing there with that envelope in my hand. My mom's backyard looked like a magazine spread. White string lights, rented tables with actual tablecloths, a 3-tier cake on a stand that probably cost more than my first truck. There was a bartender. A real bartender. At a backyard birthday party. I counted roughly 40 people. Neighbors, friends from Brooke's college days, a few of Liam's work colleagues. Everyone holding drinks, laughing, dressed like they were going somewhere nicer. Brooke was in the center of it, wearing a white dress that I'm pretty sure was meant to look bridal, holding a glass of champagne and working the crowd. I walked in carrying a gift bag in one hand and the manila envelope tucked inside my jacket. My mom saw me first. She crossed the patio with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Owen, I'm glad you came." She hugged me. It was the kind of hug where someone holds your shoulders instead of actually pulling you close. "Wouldn't miss it," I said. "Did you bring something for your sister?" "I did." She glanced at the gift bag. I could see her doing the math, trying to figure out if there was a check inside. I smiled and moved past her. Gary was standing by the drink table, nursing a beer and looking like a man who wished he were somewhere else. When he saw me, he did what Gary always does, half nodded, looked away, and took a sip. We didn't speak. Not yet. I found Liam near the back fence, away from the crowd. He looked rough, tired. The permanent salesman's grin was turned down to about 30%. "You okay?" I asked. "Not really. She went shopping again yesterday. Told me it was for final touches. Spent another $1,200. On what? I have no idea. She won't show me the receipts. She says I'm being controlling." I looked at him. "Liam, after tonight, things are going to change. You need to be ready for that." He swallowed. "What are you going to do?" "The right thing. Probably at the wrong time." He stared at me for a second, then nodded and walked back to the party. The next hour was normal. Or it felt normal. I ate catered barbecue. I made small talk with a neighbor about her fence project. I told a college friend of Brooke's that yes, the electrical business was going well, and no, I can't rewire her kitchen for free. The usual. Then Brooke clinked her glass. She stood on the patio steps, slightly elevated, backlit by the string lights, and waited for everyone to go quiet. She had her phone in one hand and that champagne in the other, and she was smiling the way people smile when they've practiced in a mirror. "Okay, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for being here. 30 feels like a big deal, and having all of you here makes it perfect." Applause. Whoops. Someone yelled, "Dirty 30," and everyone laughed. But I actually have an announcement. She paused for effect. "Liam and I have been talking, and we've decided we're starting a business together." Murmurs. Liam's face went blank. Completely blank. He clearly had no idea this was coming. "We're launching a full-service event planning and brand consulting company. It's called Callahan & Company. And I'm so excited because this is something I've been building toward for a long time. I've been doing consulting work for the last 2 years, building my portfolio, learning the industry, and now it's time to go big." She looked right at my mother when she said this. My mom was beaming, tears in her eyes, pride radiating off her like heat. I stood there with a plate of brisket, and I felt something cold settle in my chest. She was laundering the entire scheme. Right there, in front of 40 people. She was rewriting history in real time, turning 2 years of fake invoices into a consulting portfolio, and using it as the foundation for a new business. A business she was apparently planning to attach to her husband without telling him first. I looked at Liam. He was standing perfectly still, his jaw tight, his eyes fixed on Brooke. He looked like a man watching his house burn down and realizing the matches were in his own pocket. Brooke finished her speech. More applause. People rushed up to congratulate her. My mom hugged her. Gary patted her shoulder. The whole thing was choreographed. A public performance designed to lock everyone in before anyone could ask questions. I waited. About 20 minutes later, the crowd thinned out a little. People drifted toward the dessert table, the bar, the lawn games someone had set up. Brooke was talking to a cluster of friends near the cake. I walked over to Gary. He was sitting in a lawn chair by the side of the house, away from the lights. He looked up when I approached, and I saw something in his face I'd never seen before. Nervousness. "Hey, Owen. Gary, I need to give you something." I reached into my jacket and pulled out the envelope. His eyes locked onto it. "What is that?" "It's from my attorney." I held it out. "Dan Whitfield. You've met him. He handled my contract dispute with Allied Mechanical 2 years ago." Gary took the envelope like it might bite him. He opened it, pulled out the letter, and started reading. I watched his face change. It went from confusion to recognition to something I can only describe as the expression of a man who just realized the floor isn't going to hold. "Owen," he said quietly, "this isn't. You don't understand the full." "I understand exactly what happened, Gary. 23 invoices. $38,000. Routed through your firm's internal portal, bypassing my approval queue. Paid to an LLC registered to my sister. For work that was never performed, never requested, and never delivered. His hands were shaking. Not a lot, but enough. Your mother asked me to. I know. He looked at me. Really looked at me. And I think, for the first time in the 18 years I've known this man, Gary Novak saw me clearly. That letter is not a threat, I said. It's a description of what happened and what the consequences could be if it happened again. Dan included the relevant sections of the Ohio Revised Code for your reference. I suggest you read them. Oh, and please. I'm not going to report you to the state board. Not today. But Gary, you need to understand something. You breached your fiduciary duty to my company. If I wanted to, I could end your career. And we both know it. He sat there holding that letter like a man holding a doctor's report he wasn't ready to read. I left him in the lawn chair and walked back toward the party. The music was playing. People were dancing. Brooke was taking photos with friends, her head thrown back in laughter, still glowing from her big announcement. She hadn't seen the envelope yet. She didn't know what I'd brought for her. And what I was about to hand her was going to make that announcement about Callahan and Company very, very complicated. I found Brooke near the cake table. The photographer was trying to set up a shot of her cutting the first slice, and she was adjusting the angle of the cake stand to get the lighting right. Some things about my sister have never changed. The frisbee plates from when we were kids were real. The performance was real. She's always needed an audience. Hey, birthday girl, I said. Can I steal you for a minute? Owen, you came. She hugged me. A real hug, actually. Brooke can be warm when she wants something or when she's in a good mood. Tonight she was both. I have something for you, I said. Is it in the bag? The bag is just a candle. The real gift is a conversation. Something flickered in her expression, just for a second. Then the smile came back. Okay, mysterious. Let's go. We walked to the side yard, near the garage. Away from the crowd, away from the lights. I could still hear the music. Someone had put on a playlist heavy with early 2000s pop, and I had the bizarre experience of having one of the most important conversations of my life while Nellie played in the background. I pulled the second document from my jacket. This one wasn't in an envelope, just a folded set of papers held together with a binder clip. What's that? Brooke asked. It's a list of every invoice submitted to my company by Callahan Creative Consulting over the last 2 years. 23 invoices. $38,000. For consulting work that was never performed. Her face didn't move. I mean that literally. For about 3 seconds, every muscle in her face locked in place. Then she blinked, looked down at the papers, and looked back at me. I don't know what you're talking about. Brooke, that's my LLC, but I do consulting work. It's part of my portfolio. I told everyone tonight. I'm building a business. You've never done a single hour of work for my company. There are no deliverables, no reports, no emails, no meetings, nothing. You submitted invoices, and Gary processed them without my knowledge or approval. Mom said. She stopped herself, but it was too late. Mom said what? I asked. Brooke's jaw tightened. She looked away, looked back, crossed her arms. The charm was gone. What was left was something harder. Mom said you wouldn't notice. She said you don't even look at the books. She said you'd never know. I let that sit. I let her hear what she'd just admitted, out loud, to my face. She was almost right. I said. Pete noticed. Pete doesn't even own the company. Pete owns 20% of the company, and he cares more about it than anyone in this family ever has. Brooke's eyes went glassy, not from guilt, from the kind of anger that comes when someone won't play the role you've written for them. You're going to ruin my birthday over this, she said. Over money. It's not about the money, Brooke. It's about the fact that you and Mom looked at the thing I built, the business I started with nothing, after you got the college fund and I got a handshake, and you decided it belonged to you. That is so unfair. You always do this. You always make everything about the past. This isn't the past. This is $38,000 in fraudulent invoices that happened last month. She went quiet. The playlist switched to something slower. I could hear people laughing on the other side of the house. What do you want? She finally said. Full repayment. Every dollar. Dan Whitfield has drafted a repayment agreement. 12 monthly installments. No interest. No legal action, as long as the payments are made on time. And if I don't, then I file a fraud complaint with the county prosecutor and a fiduciary misconduct complaint against Gary with the State Board of Accountancy. His CPA license gets reviewed. Your LLC's billing records become part of the public file. She stared at me. You would do that to your own family? You did this to yours. Brooke didn't cry. I'll give her that. She took the papers, unclipped them, scanned the first page, and said, I need to talk to Mom. She already knows what's in those papers. Gary's had his copy for about an hour. Brooke walked away without another word. She walked straight into the house, and through the kitchen window, I could see her find my mother, and I could see my mother's face collapse. The party didn't exactly end after that, but the energy shifted. Brooke didn't come back outside for 20 minutes. When she did, her makeup was fixed and her smile was back, but it was the professional version, the one she wears like armor. My mom didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. She didn't yell. She didn't confront me. She simply acted as if I wasn't there, which, honestly, felt like every family gathering I've ever been to, just more honest. I left around 10. Liam walked me to my truck. Brooke told me everything, he said, or her version of everything. She said you're overreacting and that it was a misunderstanding. $38,000 is a long misunderstanding. He rubbed his face. I'm going to talk to a divorce lawyer this week. I'm sorry it went this way, Liam. Don't be. I should have paid attention a long time ago. So here's where everyone ended up. 6 months later, Brooke signed the repayment agreement. She made 3 payments, missed the 4th, made the 5th, missed the 6th. Dan sent a formal reminder after each missed payment. She's currently about $14,000 into the repayment. Not fast, but moving. Callahan and Company, the big business she announced at the party, never launched. Turns out it's hard to start an event planning company when your husband is filing for divorce and your only consulting portfolio is a stack of fake invoices. Liam moved out 2 months after the party. Last I heard, they're still in mediation. Gary quietly retired from his firm. He told everyone it was a health decision. I don't know if the other partners at the firm found out why, and I didn't ask. My agreement with him was simple. Full retirement, no more involvement with my company's finances, and I don't file the complaint. He agreed. I haven't spoken to him since. I hired a new accounting firm. A real one. Big enough that no one there shares my last name. My mom. That's the hard one. She called me about 2 months after the party. I was at the shop, end of day, cleaning up. I answered because I'm apparently still that kid who picks up when his mom calls. I'm very disappointed in you, Owen, she said. No hello. I know, Mom. You humiliated your sister at her own birthday party. I gave her a private conversation on the side of the house. She chose to walk inside and make it public. You should have come to me first. You told me not to come at all. That's silence again. The Diane Merritt specialty. I don't think I can forgive you for this, she said. I think that's your right. Goodbye, Owen. We haven't spoken since. I've accepted that we might never speak again. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like victory. It feels like putting down something heavy that I've been carrying for 30 years and realizing my arms still ache even though the weight is gone. Pete and I had a beer on the tailgate last Friday after we finished a big rewire job at a dentist's office downtown. He asked how I was doing, and I told him the truth. I'm fine, I said. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually fine. Good, he said. Now finish your beer. We've got a permit review in the morning. That's Pete. Sentiment has a shelf life, and there's always another job. He's not wrong, though. There is always another job. And it's mine. Every wire, every panel, every circuit. Built with my hands. Paid for with my time. And no one is ever going to treat it like it belongs to them again. Thanks for reading. Sometimes the birthday present nobody wants is the truth.